Thank you, Michael. I always wanted to know how to do that Bollywood dancing.
Thanks,
Have to practice now. Our next speaker.
Thanks.
I'm going to describe him first and then I'll ask him to come to the stage. Raja is a well-known global fintech leader focusing on investments and mentorships in early-stage ventures around social, mobile, analytics and cloud. He's had a diverse career, having worked with leading financial service institutions, global consulting firms, service providers, and as the founder CTO of successful startup firms. Raja has been active in the NGO circuit. He's been responsible for building and managing schools for tsunami-affected southern India and raising considerable funds to enact construction and sustainable operations. Raja was awarded the GE Rotary Peace Prize and recognised as a Paul Harris Fellow for his efforts. Raja has been closely associated with the AIBC for several years and before being elected president, chaired the ICT chapter in New South Wales for 2 years. Would you please welcome our host, the president of the AIBC, Raja Venkateswar.
Thank you, Alex. I can't dance. I can't do even those 3 simple steps Michael taught all of us. God created me with 2 left feet. And as one of my other friends told me, I can only dance to my wife's tunes. It's a long list of people I need to recognize, but before I start recognizing the people and start my monologue, I want to ensure that the doors are locked because you guys can't go in anywhere till I finish my speech. The Honorable Mike Baird, Premier NSW, Mr. Tulsi Tanti, CMD of Sislon, Dr. Bahare from the CGI office in Sydney, Honorable Barry O'Farrell, former Premier NSW, Honorable Andrew Stoner, Honorable Jody Mackay, MP, Honorable Ernst Wong, MLC, Councillor Raj Datta, Councillor Gurdeep Singh, Dr. Harinath, Mr. Nihal Gupta, Rhonda Piggott, thank you, DFAT, Elena Kirilova from Austrade, Shiba, of course, our AIBC National Chair, past chairs, Neville, Roj, and Dipen Rugani. Dipen, you need to shave. AIBC ACT President Deepak Rajgupta, thank you for making the time to come here, Deepak. Mr. Ed Box from CBA, and my good friend Gunjan Pagare from CBA too. Mr. Philip Curry, CEO Adventist Healthcare. Barbara Ward, the lovely lady who was so helpful to us from Adventist Healthcare too. James Wallace, do I see you around somewhere? Oh, there you are. James, we are doing India Next. James is the founder, CEO of Life Challenge. It's an incredible TV show, and we are doing India Next with him. Dr. Deborah Bunker, my teacher, philosopher, and guide. Hopefully, I do get my PhD, till I go up there. And of course, Michael Kasprowitz. He has so many strings to his bow. He even dances well. I hope the next few minutes of my monologue will keep you on the edge of your seats. And that's because hopefully it'll be interesting and not because you're finding the nerve to get up and walk away. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure I missed a few very distinguished people in this room. If I have, I do apologize. I can just put it down to old age, bad eyesight, and forgetfulness. Take your pick. I came to Sydney almost exactly a decade ago. I came here as an expat on a 457 visa. When I came here, I told my then CEO of the firm I was working for, I'm off for a couple of years. I'll be back shortly. It's a decade now. I came to Sydney thinking 2 years later I'm back. And when I came to this great country, you know, the country with an incredible diversity, the land of opportunity, the land of innovation, full of right thinking, right acting people. The country that gave us Wi-Fi, through which I think a couple of you are actually streaming this event live on Facebook. Because I was just tagged on one of them. And I think that pace of innovation, I don't think is slowing at all. I was just reading about these two unique kids in Brisbane, again Queensland, my friend, who are doing some incredible work around cosmetics. They are taking on the world. Two unique kids, brilliant. Well, it's 2 years has become 10 years, and we have to head back. I think it's a similar story to many of us here in this room. Many of us here came from a land of dreams and romance, of fabulous wealth and fabulous poverty, of splendor and rags, of palaces and hovels, the country of 100 nations and 100 tongues, 1,000 religions and 2 million gods, cradle of the human race, birthplace of human speech, mother of history, grandmother of legend, great-grandmother of tradition. I didn't write it. Okay? I lack the literary nous to write something so erudite. I'm illiterate after all. So, but it was written by Mark Twain in 1887. And I'm just thinking how relevant it is even today. This is about 10, 12 years back. I was flying back from the States. I used to work in New York in those days. I was flying back with one of my old friends. And he told me on the flight to Delhi that, you know, it's like sleeping in black and white. And when you land in Delhi, it is like you're suddenly awake in color, you know? But then my friend Alan Hubbard, he's from Boston, a city of black and whites, especially in winters, not Sydney. We have Sydney. I don't think you friends from Queensland have Sydney. You're only Bris Vegas. Doesn't count. And the country under discussion is transforming. I don't know how many of you have ever seen an elephant wake up. Alex rode an elephant. I rode one when I was a boy. But I don't know how many of you have seen an elephant wake up. It's interesting, actually. If you haven't seen it, watch on YouTube. You know, it kind of sleeps on its sides. It takes enormous leverage, uses its hind legs to slowly get up. It takes leverage, takes effort, it takes time. And India, I think, is in a very similar position. It's an elephant waking up as we speak. It just got its leverage from a very charismatic prime minister. And it seems ready to commence on a march that brooks no nonsense at all. It's a nation of 1.2 odd billion people. It's a vibrant democracy. It is the world's third largest economy by purchasing power parity, and it is now threatening to grow at unheard of rates. Depending upon whom you speak to, it grew between 7.4 and 7.8% last year. We had a great event on GST, and Dennis is here from the team which you know, did the great presentation. And GST will add, give or take, 80, 90 basis points to it at the very minimum. A good monsoon typically adds, again, between 90 to 100 basis points to the economy growth. I'll leave you, friends, with the maths. And I think it's essential that we, in this land of innovation, wake up and understand and take advantage of this huge opportunity in front of us, like we so spectacularly did when the dragon woke up and commenced on its journey of transformation. But I think, you know, it'll be fallacy to believe that the growth will be of similar dimensions. I think the Indian growth will be built on internal consumption, which, by the way, grew about a fifth in the last 15 months. I think it'll be built on small, medium-sized engineering institutions as opposed to large steel plants. You know, India has got a tenth of the steel productions of China. And do we really need more steel plants? Not sure. I think thirdly, it'll be built on services. It'll be built on a knowledge-led, technology-led economy. And thus, our challenge in Australia to build and leverage this growth will be very different. the approach needs to be beyond just resources. And especially at a time when you actually see the world's global trade decreasing. The Baltic Dry Index is at 30-year-old low levels. The last time I saw Baltic Dry indices at those rates, I was wearing half pants to school. And it's a long, long time back. I'm an old man now. Last year at AIA, I dwelt at length on some of the opportunities in front of us to exponentially increase cross-border trade. While we have seen an increase, I think 3.x% isn't much to write home about. And much water has flown under the bridge in the last 12 months. The world's focus has been on Brexit and its impact on macroeconomy. And in fact, in India Watch, you'll find one of my articles on it. And thankfully, this is a business discussion, and we're talking Brexit, not Brangelina. Okay. However, I think the bigger worry for me, at least, is the state of the EU and the Chinese debt. We know the Italian banks are reasonably insolvent. And mind you, Italy never had a housing price boom. Deutsche Bank is sitting on a derivative asset base that is give or take 14 times the German economy. We all know what happened when we saw similar multiples about a decade back in a different country. China sits on debt multiples roughly similar to what we saw in Japan 2.5 decades ago. Again, we know what's happening in Japan for the last 2.5 decades. And icing on the cake, America goes to election. Fun and games. Well, there are a lot of dark clouds in the horizon, but I think the business landscape, as usual, is full of opportunities. If you can take risks, if you understand how to make a play, create value, drive value, there are significant number of opportunities in today's market. And I think the global macroeconomic positions calls for India to grow exponentially. It's the world's largest demographic dividend country, with give or take between 800 to 850 million people of workable age. So what does it mean? I think I see an influx of FDI into India. India has already overtaken China and US as the largest FDI destination, especially if the government's focus on reform, transform, perform, Mr. Modi's three-point agenda, if it continues, it'll be fantastic. What happens then? Usually this means that the rupee strengthens, and which means that we all get better returns on dollar-denominated asset classes. And I think Australia, as a close demographic neighbor, separated only by the Indian Ocean, is geographically ideally placed to take enormous advantage of this. A case to point is actually LNG. It's a great example. Today, give or take 3/4 to 4/5 of India's LNG requirements are met by Qatar or countries in the Middle East. When the Australian investments in the basins start yielding results, Australia will overtake Qatar. And this can actually happen in the next 3 to 4 years. This could be a truly transformational opportunity for us. And I think that hopefully will start doubling trade in every 3 or 4 years between India and Australia. And I think in that, NSW will play a very key role with 1/3 of the Australian GDP and the hub of financial services firms. This has to play a key role. But for me, more importantly, Sydney is a beautiful city. I would live in Brisbane. But then, as Michael was saying very, very clearly, we all need to change, and we all need to think differently. As an old trader, think of this. The share price of one of Australia's biggest stocks, AIA, actually increased significantly on the day they announced they are moving out of Asia and China, parts of Asia and China. Now, what does it tell us? It tells me, at least, that the equity analysts don't really trust us Aussie businessmen of taking leverage or understanding Asian business at all. That's what it tells me, at least. Well, if you want more research of this nature, and there's a lot of numbers I can throw up. Just visit the AIBC website. You'll find a lot of good data. And if you remember, go to the member section. You'll find some absolutely incredible analysis by CBA available for all of us. Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Gunjan, for that analysis you guys did. Well, at the same time, there's opportunity out there, but no one accused India of being the easiest place in the world to do business with. No one accused that, right? And I think that's where we in AIBC come in. At the end of the day, to understand a nation of 100 tongues, as Mark Twain beautifully put in, and a nation where 2/3 of the electorate actually goes to vote in an election without any force at all, it has to be a complex place to do business in. I think that's where we in AIBC will prove very important to all of you who are keen to do business with India. I'm sure Shiva will talk about in some more detail on some of the great delegations we have leading to India in the early the next year. This year has been incredibly interesting at AIBC, like almost every year. We were honored with the presence of the Indian Finance Minister, who addressed a members' event with over 100 people attending to discuss Indian budget. At a more personal level, I was very happy to welcome Mr. S.P. Shukla, my old college alumni and senior, who is the president of Mahindra Aerospace, to address us members out here. But the two things in particular I really want to touch upon. Number one is, I think Shiba's election as national chair has been great. I think it's time we had a woman chairman to start with. Thank you, Shiba. It's good stuff. But I think more than just being a woman or not a woman or diversity and stuff like that, I think no one likes or no one cares more about Indo-Western trade than she does, with the possible exception of Dipen Rugani, the former chair. You still need to shave. The second, I think, is my pet project. You know, the India Watch newsletter. I was just talking to Casper about it. I said, you better read it. Last year at the AIA, I made a reference to commencing a thought paper on Indo-Western trade. I think, you know, we had about 1,500 copies downloaded from our website. It's not too bad for a first-timer. I got about 26 or 27 emails from people either telling me it's crap or telling me it's very good or giving me some ideas. All I told people who give me brickbats is saying that, please send me more. It just helps me improve so that the next newsletter is even better. And a lot more at AIBC is on the anvil, including a monthly boardroom event organized by the Professional Services chapter. This evening is a culmination of some very hard work from several folks. I think Samir Arora and Shiba Nankura to start with. Thank you, both of you. Samir, you just went from being a vice president to a wise man. The NSW committee, which manages us, is fantastic. They've been absolutely brilliant. Can I ask all of you to please stand up? Stuart, John, Paul, Rana, Raj, Caroline, Umra Miss, Samir, please. Rana Pala, Raj Nanda, great guys, thanks a lot. You guys have been fantastic, thank you. Nothing in the AIBC works without Sam Dutt, who runs our secretariat. Sam, thank you. And for this event especially, I want to thank Naina Gill. Naina, she's been brilliant. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Naina. I also want to thank, and AIBC can't work. We are a member body. It's a volunteer-based organization. The only way for us to survive, thrive, and drive value for our members is with all the sponsorship and support we get from our companies and well-wishers. I especially want to thank CBA for being the national platinum sponsor for us. Ed and Gunjan, you have been great. Thank you, guys. I want to thank the Sydney Adventist for the major support for us this year. Thank you, Philip. I really look forward to hearing from you later in the evening. And Barbara, thank you for everything. Thanks to Emphasis, our silver sponsor, my old friend Abhijit. Yeah, it's because I'm old and Abhijit is a friend. That's fine. Especially after he has just agreed to write an epistle for my next newsletter. Good man, thank you. There are several corporate table sponsors whom I want to thank. Canara Bank, of course. We spoke about these people. I want to thank DFAT. I want to thank Weapon Industry, UNSW, Fragomen, EMC. John, thank you, my friend. Multi Connections, Shiba, thank you. Cognizant, Pankaj and team, thanks, guys. TCS, Darren, thank you. Cher, Barbara again, thank you, Barbara. Grant Thornton, Rana, thank you. Bank of Baroda, Mr. Rangarajan and Pradeep Desai, great guys, thank you. Capgemini, Rekha, thank you. Sumo Global, Vishal, where are you, my friend? Good man, thank you. Friedman, Gopalan, Mithu. Good stuff. And Gagana, where are you hiding? The NSWIC chapter. Good show, guys. And I also want to thank Pawan Luthra and his incredible team at the Indian Link. They printed the India Watch newsletter in 48 hours for us. Thank you, guys. Good stuff. A special thank you to our silent auction partners, the Australia Cruise Group, ABS, Nanda Hobbs. That's a fantastic piece of work which Raj Nanda is so kindly offering to AIBC. Thank you, Raj. And Canara Bank from one great fast bowler. AIBC is a member-based organization. We encourage all members interested in actively contributing to AIBC to please contact us. There are membership forms available on most tables. If you're not a member, I suggest, I can beg, borrow, steal, whatever you want me to do, to become a member. I hope all of you have an enjoyable evening, and I look forward to talking to all of you over the course of the evening today. Thank you.